This week at Carolina.
The job outlook is tight for Carolina seniors. We'll tell you what Career Services has to say about finding your first job.
And many qualified Carolina hopefuls may not get their first choice. We'll tell you why next year's freshman class will be smaller but smarter.
Is violent crime really on the rise on the UNC-Chapel Hill campus? You may be surprised.
Stay right here for those stories and many more.
Carolina Week starts now.
From the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, this is Carolina Week.
Good evening, I'm Brigida Mack.
And I'm Tim Nelson. Thanks for joining us. Our top story tonight, Samuel Farabee, the man police say harassed several women at Duke in Carolina, must now go before two courts. Duke police arrested him late last week for second-degree trespassing. He's scheduled to appear in Orange County District Court on Monday on charges of sexual assault and trespassing. He'll face a Durham court next month.
Campus police repeatedly warn students about their safety, but is violent crime on the rise at Carolina? Carolina Week took a look at the numbers. Recent incidents on campus may have some students wondering what's being done about campus safety.
I think it definitely seems like it's gone downhill some with recent robberies and assaults.
But the truth is, violent crimes like robbery and assault aren't on the rise at Carolina. According to an annual report from UNC Public Safety, the number of reported violent crimes are down 50%, from 10 incidents in 1997 to just 5 in 2001. McCracken says violent crimes aren't the problem.
The most prevalent crime we have on this campus is larceny, by far.
But even one violent crime is too many. McCracken and UNC police have implemented more changes to make Carolina students feel more safe.
We've concentrated on increasing our patrols, making sure that officers are visible, foot patrols, bicycle patrols, all those kinds of things.
But have students noticed the change?
I have noticed that like behind Davy Hall and the Arboretum, I've noticed that they cruise back there sometimes just to see how things are going.
I think having somebody there who you know would respond if you had, any trouble would be even more comforting than just having a pole that if you can crawl to and hit the button, somebody's going to come.
Major McCracken stressed that while these precautions are not fail-safe, they do help. He says always use public transportation, like the P2P, always walk with someone in well-lit areas, and always be aware of your surroundings.
The Board of Trustees will vote Friday on a new parking proposal. The Department of Public Safety has come up with another plan to alleviate a $500,000 budget shortfall. The new plan does not include charging students for night parking. Instead, DPS will take some cuts. Officials say they'll charge the university less for fare-free busing. They'll also make some internal cuts and eliminate the EU bus route.
Well, Memorial Hall is beginning its 2-year transformation. It closed its curtains for the final time this year. The new Memorial Hall will include a larger stage, new seats with more legroom, a bigger lobby, air conditioning, an elevator, and more bathrooms. The renovation is funded by the Carolina First campaign and a Chapel Hill specialty store, A Southern Season. And the University Cliffhangers were a part of the closing activities.
Well, it's out with the old and, of course, in with the new. A new batch of students will take the place of departing seniors next fall. And next year's freshman class may already be feeling the effects of budget cuts. Carolina Week's Jennifer Griffiths has the story.
Despite declining rankings, applications for next year's freshman class were up, much higher than expected. Prospective students say Carolina has a lot to offer.
It seems like just a great place to meet a lot of people.
I know it has one of the best business schools in the country.
It's a nice place, it's sunny, academic reputation, I've heard it's really good.
But this year a tighter budget means fewer freshmen. Last year 16,800 students applied and Carolina accepted 6,200. This year 17,500 applied, but only 5,800 were accepted. That's a 3% decrease. Vice Provost of Admissions Jerry Lucido says Carolina accepted fewer students because the university can only afford to enroll 3,500.
The budget cuts reduce any flexibility that we might have with money. It takes all the play out of the system, and that means that if we over-enroll, we've got to take money from somewhere, and if the money isn't there, then class sizes grow and things like that.
Although next year's freshman class may be smaller, Assistant Director of Admissions Sue Clapper is optimistic about their academic performance.
They are strong students who seem to understand the need to challenge themselves in the classroom.
And they have the SAT scores to prove it. The incoming class average is 1308, almost 15 points higher than last year. In Chapel Hill, I'm Jennifer Griffiths, Carolina Week.
Admissions officers say those top scores could make next year's freshman class the smartest ever.
Well, this year's senior class may not be so eager to leave. Many Carolina seniors still don't have jobs. According to the University Career Services, many students are putting off the job search and attending graduate schools. Others are settling for unpaid internships and temp work. But Director of Career Services Marcia Harris says seniors should not get discouraged.
It's probably not going to be the year for most students to graduate and go right to work in their dream job. But on the other hand, if they look at that first job as, what can I gain from this job in terms of skills or contacts?
Career Services also advises seniors to think of their first job as a stepping stone and to be open-minded about where they're willing to go.
Well, being open-minded and prepared for your job search is key. But as Carolina Week's Steve Lyerly tells us, in this tight economy, even the best laid plans need a backup.
Many graduating seniors had big plans for their future.
Go to a drama school and get my master's in acting, which is a 3-year program.
Teaching is something I want to do for, at least a year or two.
Unfortunately, many of them fell through.
I didn't get accepted at any of them.
Even for former student body president Justin Young. He was denied a job with Teach for America.
Initially shocked, and then I would have asked the question that I asked myself, well, I wonder why it happened.
UNC-Chapel Hill Law School admissions dean Winston Crisp says the reasons for this are simple.
There does seem to be a trend that indicates when the market is down and jobs are more difficult to find, that students tend to flock to graduate and professional schools more freely.
Chris says they've seen a 30% increase in applications. And Raleigh's executive director for Teach for America, Missy Sherburne, says she's seen the same trend.
We received over 14,000 applications this year. That's up over 180% from last year. So it was extremely competitive this year.
With organizations receiving thousands of applications this past spring, the only question is, what can you do to stand out from the crowd?
The higher your numbers are, and by that I mean your LSAT score and your cumulative GPA, the better off you're ultimately going to be.
We're looking for individuals who are outstanding leaders on their campus, individuals who really set extremely high goals for themselves, both academically, extracurricularly, and achieved a lot during their college career.
This advice may come too late for graduating Carolina seniors, but for rising underclassmen, it's an early warning. In Chapel Hill, Steve Lyerly, Carolina Week.
Sherburne says students not accepted to Teach for America were referred to other agencies such as AmeriCorps and the Peace Corps. And on the other hand, some graduating seniors have actually had a job lined up since they were enrolled at Carolina.
What, man? But many didn't realize how serious their job would be. We'll tell you how September 11 could change these students' post-graduation plans.
Uno de estos niños tiene problemas aprendiendo las letras. Una de ellas tiene problemas aprendiendo a leer. ¿Sabe usted cuál es? Aunque parecen iguales, algunos tienen problemas de aprendizaje. Si usted sospecha que su hijo es uno de ellos, hable ahora con su maestro, incluso si piensa que su problema está relacionado con el inglés. Llámenos ahora o visite nuestra página de internet. Los niños con problemas de aprendizaje también pueden aprender.
Almost half of all parents who suspect their child has a problem learning wait a year or more before getting them help. Why? When there's so much they could be achieving.
Good job.
Kids with learning disabilities are smart. They just learn differently. Call or visit us on the web now.
While many Carolina seniors are scrambling for jobs, some already have theirs lined up, and they're not afraid to fight for it. Carolina Week's Jennifer Bird tells us more.
Training. For ROTC cadets, it's a daily routine. But U.S. Air Force Captain Jim Kilgore says training has taken on a new meaning since the War on Terror.
It's not really as real until you're faced with the possibility of perhaps going off to war. So whereas before it may be something that you read in a book and it sounded like a good idea, now it's becoming the practical reality.
This reality check is making cadets more focused.
They really understand the gravity of what they're potentially going to do, and again, they're going to be responsible for other people's lives.
Cadets feel prepared for the challenge.
The officers here have done a really good job, especially just in this last year, preparing us as far as the possibility of going off to war.
Right now, this is just practice, but if the War on Terror continues, graduating ROTC cadets could be lining up for real combat.
The odds are pretty good that some, if not all, of our cadets that graduate this year at some time in the future will go to a place you see on CNN.
ROTC students say they understand their responsibility.
I understand that part of being in the Air Force is the potential to go to war, but that's pretty much what I signed up for that.
I'm not trying to find a war to go fight, but if that's what the Army says that they want me to do and that's what my country asked me to do, then I'll go and I'll do my job.
Graduating ROTC cadets will officially become active members of the military in just a few weeks. In Chapel Hill, I'm Jennifer Bird, Carolina Week.
In fact, those graduating ROTC cadets will assume that active military status in a ceremony the day before graduation.
Well, some UNC-Chapel Hill medical students are already heading to the Middle East to help out with the crisis. The students are a part of INTRA, a nonprofit group based in the School of Medicine. They'll work to improve the emergency response system in the Palestinian regions of the West Bank and Gaza. Doris Young is the coordinator of the project.
We deal with many different emergencies, and they can range from, war situations to coup d'etats to breakouts of diseases that we didn't plan for, and we adapt really quickly.
The project also includes students from the schools of nursing and public health. INTRA gives support to primary health care providers in developing countries around the world.
UNC-Chapel Hill is working to establish a relationship with the Moscow State University. That's what brought Russian ambassador to the U.S. to the UNC-Chapel Hill campus. The topic of discussion, American-Russian relations before and after September 11th. Ambassador Yuri Ushakov says the war against terrorism marks the beginning of a joint partnership between Russia and the United States. The visit was sponsored by the Office of the Provost, the University Center for International Studies, and the School of Journalism and Mass Communication.
Well, the fresh springtime air brings many Triangle residents outside, but Carolina Week's Kelly Mahoney tells us why the air we breathe isn't so fresh.
Even on a clear spring day, a Carolina blue sky can quickly turn gray around the edges. That haze on the horizon isn't a cloud, it's a sign of bad air quality. The Triangle's poor air quality is caused by high levels of ozone, not the protective good ozone, but rather the harmful ozone produced by humans. So why is the Triangle's air rated 11th worst in the nation? Air quality meteorologist John Hill says that there are three main factors.
One, we have relatively hot summers, so we have a lot of sunlight and a powerful sun during the summer months. We also have a lot of vehicles traveling on the roads, especially during rush hour. And then the third factor is we have pine trees and hardwood trees, which also add to ozone formation.
Ozone levels peak during the late afternoon in the hottest summer months when they can cause health problems such as respiratory infections, migraines, and nausea. Most people agree that something must be done to curb high pollution levels. The Clean Air Act aims to help, holding individual states accountable for reducing current pollution levels.
The federal government also helps by issuing air quality forecasts and warnings on days when ozone levels are high. On these days, those of us living here in the Triangle can follow simple steps to help.
Use public transportation whenever you can, keep your car tuned up, and fill your gas tank during cooler evening hours. But how much of a difference can one person really make?
If we all get in better habits in terms of limiting our activities during those prime times and prime months, then collectively we'll start to see an increase in the air quality in the area.
As the Triangle's population continues to grow, we should all work to make sure that levels of air pollution don't do the same. In Chapel Hill, I'm Kelly Mahoney, Carolina Week.
Ozone forecast for 2002 will begin on Tuesday, the first day of the ozone season. The season lasts through September.
The recent warm, sunny weather has many Chapel Hill residents seeking outside entertainment. The 30th annual Apple Chill Festival provided just that opportunity as 44,000 people gathered on Franklin Street last Sunday. The festival featured musical entertainment, arts and crafts, some food, and even a mime.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but that mime looked a little familiar. Tim, you're not moonlighting as a mime at Apple Chill, are you?
No, no, I'm not.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. That's good to know.
But Jason, that weather last Sunday and all last weekend was great. How's it going to be this coming weekend?
Well, we've had a lot of high temperatures this week that were more moderate, around the 70s. Last week we had the 90s. But first, before we go to this weekend's forecast, let's go to this week's weather question, which is, tornadoes occur most frequently in which month? Is it April, May, June, or July? The answer in this week's forecast when Carolina Week returns.
Hello, my name is Estelle Ward, and I'd like to speak to someone about my daughter Ruth's financial aid. Hello, yes, I'm Ruth Ward's mom, and I was hoping the university might reconsider. She got good grades. Hello, I'm Ruth Ward's mother, and I'd like to speak to someone about my daughter's financial aid.
A stroke is a brain attack. It's the third leading killer in North Carolina. Warning signs appear suddenly. Sudden severe headache, vision problems, trouble speaking, numbness on one side of the body. We're all at risk. Know the symptoms so you can get medical help fast. For information about stroke, contact the American Heart Association at 1-800-AHA-USA1.
Hi, and welcome back to Carolina Week. The dry temperatures this week and moderate temperatures made it perfect for the book sale out in the pits that was on Wednesday. Yet our dry weather has caused some problems. With the dry weather we've had this week, we've had a continuation of dry weather really for the whole spring. We can see that the precipitation for April right now is 1 inch, and that's about an inch lower than the usual 2 inches. So they say April showers bring May flowers, but so far we really haven't had much rain to bring out the flowers for May. Our dry conditions can cause problems with the drought. They cause the high pollen levels, and they have also caused some wildfires out towards the west, towards the mountains in Burke County. But if we look at our satellite map, we can see we have all along the East Coast dry conditions, some cloud cover moving this way. That could bring some scattered showers by Thursday. We have right now over the Great Plains mostly dry conditions. As we get closer to Monday and the beginning of next week, we'll see those drier conditions come back. But we could see a chance of rain this weekend. If we look at our surface map, we can see the cold front push through. That helped bring the temperatures down from the 90-degree temperatures we had last week. And so this week we've had more moderate temperatures, and that's really helped keep it just nice to be outside and not break such a sweat. We have the high pressure building over us right now though, and that's what's been bringing the dry conditions. If we look at our 4-day forecast, we'll see 72 on Friday. It'll be very nice, mostly sunny on Friday. On Saturday, we could start to see the clouds come up, and that might bring a chance of rain and maybe some thunderstorms late in the afternoon. On Sunday, we'll see the best chance of rain and thunderstorms with a high of 81 and a low of 56. And on Monday, to start off your week, you'll see partly cloudy conditions, high of 80 and a low of 58. If you're going to be going down to the beach, we'll have a high of 76 and a low of 54, mostly cloudy conditions. You can see again some late thunderstorms pop up. On Sunday, a high of 83 and a low of 64. That would be our best chance of rain. If you're going to be going to the mountains though, you'll see 63 on Saturday, a low of 45, and best chance of rain will be in the mountains. A high on Sunday of 73 and 54 as our low. But overall, we'll see some chance of showers, and that's what we need. I mean, we've had this drought lately, so we really need some showers, but they'll be mainly scattered showers. Right.
Good news. How about that weather question?
Well, how about the weather question? Has anyone figured that out yet?
I'm going to say, I don't know, June?
Well, actually, it's B, May. Right, and that's just around the corner, so we'll have to watch out for the tornadoes next month.
I didn't do so well in geography.
Thanks so much. Well, Ben, I hear that the average salary for graduating communication majors is through the roof as of last weekend.
Well, a couple players on the North Carolina football team will have that one going up around $2.5 million.
Wow.
But before we go to break, we're going to leave you with a few celebrations from a record-setting weekend for the Heels in the ACC tournaments. Complete recap of other sports when we return after this.
What could you do with a free hour of your day?
Take a jog, wash your car, bake a cake, or watch TV.
Ever thought about giving blood? It only takes an hour. It saved my life. Someday it may save yours.
A single pint of blood can save 3 lives. Be a hero. Give blood.
A freshman's first day in Phillips Hall is a humbling experience. You need to get to the 3rd floor, but not every stairwell leads you there. Just as in life, take the wrong way up and you won't get anywhere. None of the corridors make sense. It's like being in a huge maze at 7:57 while you're looking for your 8 o'clock class. No one knows the real Carolina like a student. Carolina Week, the student news show.
Welcome back to Carolina Week Sports. Well, this weekend was ACC championship time, but the baseball Heels are still dominating in the regular season. Carolina takes on Virginia Commonwealth on Tuesday and come out with sizzling sticks in a 10-2 win. And the Heels would strike back-to-back in the 6th inning. Both Russ Adams and Sean Farrell go deep to give Carolina a whopping 73 home runs on the season. Gary Baker was strong in a rare weekend start, striking out 6 and allowing 4 hits in 7 innings. Carolina will host defending national champion Miami in a 3-game set this weekend at the Bosch. While the baseball team takes a break from the ACC, this weekend was a big weekend for the Heels in conference tournament. Just in case you've gone to the beach or were stuck in the library, here's a recap. In tennis, both the men and women claimed the ACC crown, and both of them came down to the final match. The men earned their first title in 10 years, downing Georgia Tech, while the women would take their first title since 1981. Also, the women's lacrosse team would claim its first ever ACC title, topping Maryland on Sunday. And to add to that list, a team title for the Heels in women's track and field, totaling 4 championships this week and 7 for the year. Since the 1987-88 school year, Carolina has won or tied for the most conference title each year. And the Heels still have a shot for 2 more ACC crowns in baseball and softball. Not to be left out, sophomore Dustin Bray won the ACC Individual Golf Championship this weekend by 2 strokes. Although there wasn't an individual winner in women's tennis, Carolina's Kate Pinchback had quite a season and an ACC tournament. Carolina Week's Joe Disney got a chance to sit down with the ACC tourney MVP.
1 year ago, Carolina's Kate Pinchback fell to Duke's Amanda Johnson 7-6 in the final set to clinch the win for the Devils.
Her team ran on and tackled her, and I always thought, gosh, I wish that was me, and what would it be like to be in that situation?
Then again this season, the same thing happened. The loss was surprising because Pinchback had won all 22 of her matches to that point of this spring season.
Every single match, I knew that the person I was playing was, I knew they were good, but I knew that if I played my best tennis, I could win. And on Sunday, I kind of thought, God, I've lost to her twice, and I don't know if I can do this. I was really nervous, but I knew it had to be me.
The 3rd time with the ACC title on the line, Pinchback wouldn't let it happen again. Her brother Daniel, who won his match in the men's ACC championship, didn't even have to watch the match.
The umpire came down and said to them, oh, they've got one match, they're down to the deciding matchup in the women as well, and it's #2 singles. And my brother said, well, we've won. And the guy said, yeah, like, what are you talking about? How do you know? And he goes, because that's my sister.
With the win, 6-0 in the final set, Pinchbeck got revenge and sealed Carolina's first ACC title since 1981, ending rival Duke's 14-year championship streak. It's a great memory for her, but not the best.
That's of right now. Hopefully, in a couple weeks' time, we'll be sitting here again, and you'll say to me, what will you remember? And I'll say, winning NCAAs.
See you there, Kate. In Chapel Hill, I'm Joe Disney, Carolina Week Sports.
Well, after this weekend, a select group of Tar Heels are going to need to invest in a bigger wallet. The NFL held its annual draft this weekend, and Carolina players were a hot commodity. Julius Peppers is going to stay close to home as he was taken 2nd overall by the Carolina Panthers. His partner on the Heels D, Ryan Sims, wasn't far behind as he was taken 6th by the Kansas City Chiefs. Former walk-on linebacker David Thornton went in the 4th round to Indianapolis. And in the final and 7th round of the draft, quarterback Ronald Curry was taken by Oakland, while linebacker Quincy Monk was picked by the New York Giants. And finally, lineman Joey Evans was selected by Cincinnati. And there are also 4 other Tar Heels that went undrafted but signed as free agents this week. You had safety Billy D. Greenwood, linebacker Merceda Perry, receiver Corey Bailey, and kicker Jeff Reed.
Not a bad draft for the Heels.
Yeah, 10 overall.
Thanks, Ben. Well, one major morning show might be making Carolina students get out of bed early Monday morning.
We'll have that story when Carolina Week returns.
Thousands of kids in this country have everything it takes to go to college, except the money. The United Negro College Fund. A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
If you have a story idea, contact Carolina Week at 843-8292. You can also visit us online at carolinaweek.org. If you have questions about this program, write Carolina Week at Campus Box 3365, UNC-CH, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, 27599.
Well, Good Morning America is coming to Chapel Hill. The nationally televised morning show is going cross-country, 50 states and 50 weeks. Carolina beat out Duke to kick off the tour. They'll be broadcasting live from Carolina's campus on Monday, April 29th. Diane Sawyer and the rest of the Good Morning America team will be on hand in the Polk Place Quad. The show airs at 7 a.m.
A local legend who's been cooking up good food and good times for years is now getting served a statewide award. Mildred Council, owner of the famous Mama Dip's Kitchen, was recently named the North Carolina Small Business Person of the Year. Better known as Mama Dip, the 73-year-old council has been running her Chapel Hill restaurant for more than a quarter century. She says the award came as a surprise.
I can only put it like when like movie stars, the people choose them to get the awards, you know, and so this is the way I feel like I would choose to get the award, not for nothing that I feel like I've done. It's what other people feel like that I've done.
Council began Mama Dip's Kitchen with just $64. She says a recent appraisal put the restaurant's worth at $300,000 to $400,000. Council will compete against other state winners for the title of U.S. Small Business Person of the Year in Washington, D.C. in 2 weeks.
Well, we will certainly wish her the best of luck.
Luck
at the national competition.
That we will. And with that, that does it for this edition of Carolina Week.
Please be sure to tune in next week for the last show of the spring semester.
Hard to believe. Until then, have a good night and a good week.
Good night.